Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One more.
A broke grocery delivery man fed a paralyzed woman every single day, not knowing she was worth $500 million. He thought he was helping a struggling stranger, but when his world collapsed around him, she revealed a secret that flipped everything upside down. Before we get into it, drop a comment right now. What time is it where you are, and where in the world are you watching from? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's begin. Marcus glanced at his phone. The glass was shattered across the corner, but the countdown was impossible to miss. 3 minutes, 2:59, 2:58. If the timer hit 0 before he marked the order delivered, his rating would slip. If his rating dropped below 4.8, he'd lose gold status. No gold status meant no weekend surge pay. No surge pay meant no extra cash. And no extra cash meant his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, would keep wearing the same worn-out sneakers to school. He pushed harder on the pedals. At 32, Marcus had a college degree in graphic design collecting dust in a drawer. These days, his resume didn't matter. What mattered was the insulated black delivery bag strapped to his back, heavy and boxy, pulling at his shoulders like an anchor. He rode nearly 20 miles a day, rain or shine, because rent didn't care about dreams. Lily thought he was a superhero. He didn't have the heart to tell her superheroes don't check their bank balance before buying cereal. He skidded to a stop in front of an ivy-covered brownstone on 4th Street. The neighborhood screamed old money, manicured hedges, polished brass knockers, fresh paint. But this house felt different. The curtains were sealed shut. A thin layer of dust coated the porch. No welcome mat, no flowers, just silence. He locked his bike to a rusted railing and checked the app. Customer, Victoria. Instructions, door is unlocked. Please bring inside. I cannot walk. Marcus froze. Company policy was clear. Never enter a customer's home. Too risky. Too many horror stories. Drivers had been deactivated for far less. He stared at the door. Then he thought about his grandmother. How she used to sit by the window all afternoon, pretending to read, waiting for the mailman just so she could say hello to someone. He exhaled and pushed the heavy oak door open. "Hello," he called out. In here, a voice answered. Soft, fragile, like paper being folded. He stepped inside. The air felt still, untouched. The faint scent of lavender drifted through the hallway, mixed with something older. Dust hung in the dim light filtering from a single lamp. In the center of the living room sat a woman in a sleek electric wheelchair, facing closed blinds. She looked to be in her late 40s, though illness had carved deeper years into her face. Thin blonde hair rested against the headrest. Her hands lay limp in her lap. "I brought your soup," Marcus said gently, weaving past stacks of old books and newspapers. He placed the paper bag on a side table, layered with dust. "Thank you," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. She didn't turn her head. She couldn't. "Would you open it for me?" she asked after a pause. "My hands aren't cooperating today." Marcus glanced at his phone. The app chimed again. The timer was still running. His phone vibrated again. New order request. Pick up in 4 minutes. The message sat there like a threat. If he stayed, he would miss it. If he missed it, the system would mark him down. Enough marks, and the good orders disappear. That was how it worked. No warning, no mercy. He glanced at Victoria. She wasn't watching him. She was staring at the wall, chin lifted slightly, holding on to the last bit of dignity she had left. She wasn't asking him to feel sorry for her. She wasn't even asking him to stay. She was simply hungry. Marcus pressed decline. "Don't worry about it," he said quietly. He peeled open the container. Warm steam filled the room, rich with chicken broth and herbs. He guided the spoon into her hand, gently curling her fingers around it. For a brief second, she managed to hold it. Then her arm jerked violently. The spoon fell, broth splashing across the wooden floor. The sound echoed in the silent house. Victoria closed her eyes as if that would erase what just happened. A single tear slipped down her cheek. "Please just go," she whispered. "I don't want you to see this." She was embarrassed. She was exhausted. And she would rather starve than feel like a burden. Marcus didn't check the time. He didn't sigh. He bent down, picked up a spoon, wiped it carefully with a napkin from his bag, and pulled a heavy chair beside her. "I have a daughter named Lily," he said, dipping the spoon back into the soup. "She refuses to eat unless I turn the spoon into an airplane. Full sound effects. Full drama. I have to commit to the role." Victoria's eyes opened slowly. He wasn't speaking to her like she was fragile glass. He wasn't speaking to her like she was a case file. He was speaking to her like a person sitting across from him at a table. "I promise I won't make airplane noises," he added with a small grin. "Unless you insist." A faint smile touched her lips. "I think I'll survive without the performance," she murmured. "Good," he replied gently. "Open up." He fed her slowly, patiently. He didn't rush between bites. He didn't glance at his phone. He sat there in his faded shirt and worn cap, the heavy delivery bag still hanging from his shoulders, feeding a stranger until the bowl was empty. When he finished, she looked at him differently. "Thank you," she said softly. "You have no idea what that meant." "I'm Marcus," he replied, packing away the empty container. "I'll see you tomorrow, Victoria." He left that house late. He missed 3 deliveries. He lost his bonus for the day. He went home with $40, less than he needed. But when her order popped up the next afternoon at exactly 1 p.m., he accepted it without hesitation. It became routine. Every day at 1 he arrived. Soup one day, pasta the next, sometimes yogurt or a smoothie. He would sit in the same dusty chair and feed her while they talked. She told him she used to paint before ALS stole control of her muscles. She described the ocean in detail, how she missed the rhythm of waves crashing against the shore. He showed her photos of Lily on his cracked screen. "She needs braces," he admitted one afternoon, wiping sauce gently from Victoria's chin. "And now she wants ballet lessons. I told her her dad is working on it." Victoria's eyes softened. "You're a good father, Marcus. Most people don't slow down long enough to see what matters." The question slipped out before he could stop it. "Where's your family? This house is huge. You shouldn't be alone." Her expression shifted. "My illness became inconvenient," she said evenly. "It takes too long to feed me. Too long to wait for me to finish a sentence. They set up automatic payments for the bills and visit on Christmas." Marcus shook his head. "Their loss," he replied. "You tell decent jokes, even the terrible dad ones." She laughed, weak but genuine. But outside that quiet, dusty living room, life was tightening its grip on Marcus. 2 months later, Marcus stepped into the house looking nothing like himself. The blue cap was gone. The bulky black delivery bag wasn't slung over his shoulders. His brown shirt was creased, untucked, and his eyes were swollen and bloodshot. He pulled the chair close to Victoria and tried to pour her a glass of water, but his hands trembled so badly the water sloshed over the rim. "Marcus," Victoria said, her voice steadier than it had ever been. "What happened?" He set the glass down before he dropped it and covered his face with both hands. His shoulders shook as he inhaled sharply. "My bike's gone," he forced out. It was outside the pharmacy. Lily had an asthma attack. I ran in to grab her inhaler. I swear I was inside for 3 minutes. When I came back, the lock was cut. He lifted his head, tears spilling freely now. It was electric. I'm still making payments on it. I can't work without it. I missed my shift this morning because I couldn't reach my delivery zone. They deactivated my account, said I failed to complete scheduled hours. Victoria stared at him, her chest rising slowly, pain written across her face. "Rent's due Friday," Marcus continued, his voice flat and empty. "I need $1,200 in 3 days or Lily and I are out. I've called everyone I know. I don't have options left." He reached into his pocket and unfolded a crumpled receipt with unsteady fingers. "This is the last order I'll ever bring you. I paid for it myself. I needed to know you ate today." Victoria's eyes moved to the receipt. "You used your own money," she whispered, "after losing your job." "I couldn't walk away without saying goodbye," he replied. "You deserve better than that." He lifted the spoon. "One more meal," he said quietly. "Let's not rush this." He fed her slowly, carefully, like he always did. The room felt smaller than usual, heavier. When the bowl was empty, he wiped her mouth gently and pushed the chair back. He leaned down and pressed a soft kiss to her forehead. "Goodbye, Victoria. Take care." He turned toward the door, every step dragging. "Marcus, stop." Her voice had changed. It wasn't fragile anymore. It carried weight. "I can't stay," he said without looking back. "I need to find somewhere that'll buy my watch. It's the only thing left I can sell." "Open the curtains," she said. He hesitated. "Victoria, the light bothers you." "Open them," she repeated, her eyes sharp and unyielding. "Please." Marcus exhaled and walked toward the massive window. He grabbed the thick cord and pulled. Sunlight burst into the room. He shielded his eyes from the sudden glare, blinking rapidly. And then he froze. This wasn't an abandoned brownstone. They were standing high above the city, inside the top-floor penthouse of the historic Harrington Manor. The window overlooked manicured private gardens, and past them the city's skyline shimmered in the afternoon sun. Glass towers caught the light and threw it back in blinding flashes. Marcus slowly turned toward her, confusion tightening his chest. "My name is Victoria Harrington," she said quietly. Marcus went still. Everyone knew that name. Harrington Steel, Harrington Technologies. The Harringtons were the family that shaped the city's foundations. They were billionaires. "I don't understand," Marcus said, his voice unsteady. "The dust, the delivery food, this place." "I dismissed my staff 6 months ago," Victoria replied, tears forming in her eyes. "The nurses, the chefs, the assistants. When they fed me, they watched the clock. I wasn't a person to them. I was a task, a responsibility they wanted to finish." She looked at Marcus, the man who had lost his income but still used his last dollars to bring her a meal. "So I started ordering food. I wanted to see if anyone would pause long enough to care. Hundreds left the bag at the door and rushed away. You were the only one who stepped inside, the only one who truly saw me." She nodded toward the side table. "Open the top drawer." Marcus obeyed. Inside was a thick cream envelope. "Open it." His fingers trembled as he pulled out the contents. A check for $50,000 stared back at him. He dropped the envelope. "I can't accept this." "That isn't charity," Victoria said firmly. "It's payment for the care, for the dignity, for the companionship that kept me alive. It's too much." "I'm not finished," she said. "I need a personal manager, someone to drive me to the ocean, someone to feed me without making me feel broken." A bright smile spread across her face. "The salary is $150,000 a year, full benefits, and I've already spoken to St. Jude's Academy. Lily will start in the fall. Tuition is covered." Marcus collapsed to his knees, tears pouring down his face. The rent, the stolen bike, the fear, it all came crashing down at once. He cried for his grandmother, for Lily, and for the woman who had just changed his life. "Why?" he managed to whisper. "Because you didn't know," Victoria said softly. "You believed I was poor. You believed I was broken. And you treated me like royalty anyway." A playful spark flickered in her eyes. "So, are you accepting the job, or do I have to finish this yogurt by myself?" Marcus laughed through his tears and wiped his face with his sleeve. He stepped toward her, no longer a delivery driver, but something more. "I'll take the job," he said, taking her hand. "But I'm still not making airplane noises." "We'll see," Victoria replied with a smile. "We'll see." Marcus gave his last dollar to feed a woman he thought had nothing, never knowing she was a millionaire. Would you have done the same? Tell us in the comments. And if this story touched you, like and subscribe for more stories of hope and unexpected blessings.